Hi, this is Brandseed's SEO company passage indexing guide, and this passage indexing guide by an authentic SEO company will just shed some light on how Google will now index certain parts of content on a page to answer certain questions and bring it up as a section rather than the entire page itself. We can have a look at an example, but let's first have a look at what Google say here. So Google are saying, for instance, here, passages, very specific searches can be hardest to get right. And they're basically saying we made a breakthrough in ranking. We're now able to not just index pages, but individual passages from the pages, okay? And they say it's by better understanding the relevancy of a specific passage. So yeah, question answer begins to come. How can I determine if my house windows are UV glass? There's the old way, it would give you the whole page and you would find it. Here it will show the actual answer in a snippet. So let's hear from Google's Search on 220 update, what they had to say.
Recently made another breakthrough and are now able to not just index web pages, but individual passages from those pages. This helps us find that needle in a haystack because now the whole of that one passage is relevant. So, for example, let's say you search for something pretty niche, like, how can I determine if my house windows are UV glass? This is a pretty tricky query. We get lots of web pages that talk about UV glass and how you need a special film, but none of this really helps a layperson take action. Our new algorithm can zoom right into this one passage on a DIY forum that answers the question. Apparently, you can use the reflection of a flame to tell, and ignores the rest of the posts on the page that aren't quite as helpful. Now, you're not going to do this query necessarily, but we all look for very specific things sometimes. And starting next month, this technology will improve 7% of search queries across all languages.
So,
thanks for tuning in.
So now that we're looking at it, let's test it. It's now the next month. That was in December. So let's go. How long can a snake plant go without water? Okay, because let's have a look. And there we go, 6 weeks. So before, and you can see if we look at this entire page, okay, I'm just going to highlight this to help us find it. But you can see 6 weeks, while it can be based on humidity, light. So it's taken this small passage and it's really made it available in this people also ask snippet, so that you don't need to click through to the entire page. And if you did land there, you know, it's basically brought to you instead of you in the past, you'd have to sort of find it. But you can see this is quite a substantial passage, and it's found just that part. So let's have a look. Let's try and find it. There we go. How do you know when to water a snake plant? Now, our question was, how long can it go without? So let's have a look at some clues. And we see can go without water, and we can see how. You can see there how. So Google knows this is a question. It's picked up can go without water, and it's now looking for a numerical time, and 6 weeks is obviously a time period. And there we go, the AI has picked up everything. So the idea is to approach this by looking at pages as granulated content. So you should really think about what people are looking for, and you can get those ideas from the auto-suggest, which has always been there historically, or even now that people also ask. So take that into consideration when shifting over to your content, to make sure that any little passage is relevant to a certain point, and that you pick up on question answers, because even in Google's example, that's where they seem to be using this passage indexing to help you zoom into a certain section and answer a question. So that's our advice. See a page as granulated. Ensure that each subsection of a page, or each passage, or each section answers questions. You can get an idea of questions through auto-suggest, or people also ask. There we go. That's this week's SEO company passaging indexing guide.